Alright, so we're talking about electron configuration. So basically this is just talking about how we can go through all of our SPDF blocks and explain where a specific thing is located based on where its electrons are configured or how many electrons it has, things like that. It is useful in the long run for figuring out the reactivity levels of these different things, exactly where and what it will locate with, what it will react with, things along that line. It may seem a little redundant after a little while, but that's the reason why I'm going to show you how to do the unabbreviated version and the abbreviated version. Now, this is where we come back, so we're looking for magnesium. So let's go to our periodic table. Another reason why I want to laminate your periodic table, so that way you can have a nice fun time and draw on it with this particular unit especially. Now, I will say, with this, I will remind you, if you do not have it, make sure you have your different blocks labeled. So SPDF, and they will go in that order. So in this case, because helium only has 2 electrons, it will move over here to be in this block. If you want to move it over here to remember that, or if you want to put a little asterisk next to it, that's fine too. Whatever helps you. But I like to move it over because it helps me get through each level. So now, first thing I'm going to do is I need to get to magnesium. So if I get to magnesium, I have to go through all 11 elements before magnesium to get the correct letter and number for magnesium. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll take my first 2 and I mark them out. That means I can come back to my paper and I will put my 1 because I have my period number, and then S because I'm in the S block, and I have filled it up completely. S only holds 2, so that's the way I marked that out. There is no P in group, or in, not group, but period 1. There is no F and there is no D in my period 1. So that means I have to move on to period 2. So I'll do the same thing. I'll get rid of my first group. Now I'll do 2S2 because I marked through it completely. And there is no D, there is no F. So I have to go to my P block. My P block, I can go all the way through because I'm still trying to get to magnesium. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So P, there is no P. I am still staying with my period. So I'll have 2P6. Alright, I've marked my P. Now I can go to the next one. Now with this, I can go 1, 2. So my second one is my mark. So I can finish knowing that it's going to be 3 because it is on period 3, and I went over 2. So it is S block and I go over 2, and that's my answer. So it may seem a little long-winded, but that's how it works. That's how we get from one step to the next. Now, I will say that the next, anything past your 3rd level may get a little complicated. So that's the reason why I want to go with 10 as our next one. So 10 is the chemical symbol of SN and a number of 50. So I'm going to have 50 electrons that I got to mark out. This one on top is just 12. So it may take a little while. Now I'll come over here, put my helium. I'm going to go ahead and mark through these 2 because I know I have to get to all the way to 10. So 1s2, and really you don't even really have to do this because you can see magnesium is past 10, so I know I can go all the way past that one. So what I will do is I will keep going. I'll do my 2 on S2, so 2S2 because that is my period, and my S with 2 of them going through. There are no D's and F's, so I have to go to my P. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I now have gone past my 2p6, 2p6. Moving on to 3, because I don't have any more left of 2. So I get rid of my 3s2. Well, we're back at magnesium, so we're moving past magnesium now. There are no D's and there are no F's in group 3, or period 3, my bad, period 3. So we go over to P. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we have 3p6. Moving on to the next one, we are out of period 3 into period 4. So we have 1, 2 for our 4s2. So 4s2. Now, here's the problem. We have reached the D block. In reality, what we think of as period 4, it's really supposed to be somewhere like right here, like 3.7 or 3.5. There's somewhere where they're really supposed to be, and so you actually, for your D's, and remember this, you might want to put this down on your periodic table. D, when doing electronic configuration, is always going to be equal to -1 of the period. And you could also put that on your paper. So remember, D is equal to -1 of the period number. Okay? Now, with that being said, the problem is F is basically a little bit half of that one. So we might as well, while we're at it, put F is equal to -2 of the period number. Okay? Now we're not going to use it on this particular one because 10 doesn't go all the way down to that, and you're not going to use F too often, but when you do, you always have to take the period number -2. Alright? So, with that being said, we have to go all the way through our D block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that means that it will now be 3D10. Alright? We can move on. There are no F's. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means we can go back to our period number because we know that P is still in period 4. 4P6 is what we have. And unfortunately, we're not done because we still got to go down to the next level. So we're done with 4, so we'll move to period 5. We get rid of our 5s2. 5s2. And now we got to move through D again to get to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, that means we have to go back down 1 from our S. So basically whatever our S is in that particular one, we go 1 less for our D. So 4D10. And now we got to go back up to P. So 1, 2. A lot of work, right? And that's just for 50. Imagine doing radon in number 86. So we have 5P2 because we only went to 2, so we got to keep it at 2. All right. So that is what 10 looks like in an unabbreviated version. So I want you to do at least 3 of those in unabbreviated version. Now let's do the abbreviated version because it's so much simpler. Now, according to our paper, we're looking for chlorine. So if we look, this is abbreviated version, by the way. If we look at this, we see that chlorine is number 17. Now we could do the 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5, because that's technically where it would end. Or we can understand that everything before here in our neon is represented in neon. So neon represents 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So we could write that down, or we can show our shortened version and have our, which is what we call the noble gas version. And this right here represents all of these. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So neon, when we just put it there, represents that. But unfortunately, we can't just say, well, that's the end of it. We'll just write this one as 3p5. We have to go through and mark the rest. So we know this is done, and this is done because we put down our neon. So we go 1, 2. We do our 3s2, and we move down and finish it off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would give us our 3p5. So the abbreviated version of chlorine is going to be neon 3s2 3p5. All right. Now let's do one more. Let's do zirconium. Zirconium looks like it will suck, right? Because we're looking at ZR in number 40. Because we know how far it sucked for the 10. So 40 is not going to be much better. Well, we'll just do the same thing that we did with chlorine. And we'll do the noble gas abbreviation. So with our noble gas abbreviation, if we're doing zirconium down here, we'll just start from krypton. And by me putting krypton here, all I got to do is KR, and this will probably be the most you use krypton all year, is for this whole row right here. And now that means that I don't have to write down, I don't have to go down and write all of this crap. It's all taken care of by me just putting down KR. Alright? But I got to finish it off. So I take my 2 here, I'm going to mark through them. I'll mark down my 5s2 because I'm in period 5. Get rid of my 2 s's. Now I'll have to go to D, and I have 2. There are 2 D's in this one. Remember, it is always -1 of the period number, so the period number is 5, so we'll do 4D2. And it's that simple. We could mark out something that is this long just by putting krypton there to get rid of all of that. Alright? Now, I want you to do 3 of those as well. And then I want you to do 6 total on the back as well. And that'll be your assignment for today. If you have questions, please go through. There is another video attached that's a little bit shorter than mine if you want to watch it. It is from a nice lady from the internet that'll help you out with it. If you have any questions outside of that, come in during L time and I will help you out as much as I can. This is not the hardest stuff, not the easiest stuff. It can be a little confusing. It just takes repetition. So if you still don't get it after your 6 on the front, please finish the rest. All right? I hope you have a nice day.